Hi, my name is Rachel Coussens, and today I will be discussing my dissertation study, exploring West Michigan high school students' experiences completing academic tasks without Wi-Fi at home, a single case study. When thinking about the problem of the digital divide is a separation between individuals who do and do not have digital access. In this study, I focused on students without home Wi-Fi and their differences from their peers who do have Wi-Fi at home. In today's academic climate, we ask students to access the internet. The world has evolved in such that students must work with digital means both in and out of school, and they're expected to have this access regardless of whether they actually do or not. Further, students need to learn technology skills while they're at school. During their K-12 years, they can learn these skills so that they are better prepared for college or career after they graduate. In my literature review, I looked at three main topics. First, an overview of the digital divide. Second, how technology is used in K-12 settings. And third, the COVID-19 pandemic and how this impacted the digital divide. The digital divide and its concerns began in the 1990s and started to show that separation between individuals who do and do not have Wi-Fi. This digital divide is further shown through different areas of capital. These areas of capital were studied and show the need for success through different types of connections. In the early 2000s, an area of technical capital began to be studied, showing that technology connection is important for individuals. Another important connection is social capital, where individuals have social connections with one another. Chen, in his 2013 study, studied that internet usage and its connection to peer connections can be strengthened if an individual has that internet connection. In the area of K-12 technology, students who have access to technology at school are able to have higher levels of student achievement, as well as having skills that they learn by having that usage in and out of school. Multiple studies have shown the usage of different devices to help students. Things like iPads or mobile technologies, such as cell phones, help students make academic progress. When individuals do not have access, some things can also be provided within the community. Hotspots or different community access points, such as a library or a YMCA, can also help those individuals who do not have home access. We know that individuals who do not have at-home technology access can struggle and show frustration when they're asked to complete technology tasks. If they're able to have those connections within the community or through a hotspot, they're able to move past and keep up with their peers. The COVID-19 pandemic also exacerbated this digital divide. It caused a technology dependence both in and out of schools. Students were expected to use technology and their teachers expected that they would have it. However, this is not the case for all students. Those students who did not have home access during the school closures during the COVID-19 pandemic missed out on technology and important resources that were provided in the school setting. Based on this literature review, the purpose of my single case study was to explore how West Michigan public high school students without Wi-Fi at home describe their digital divide experiences with completing academic tasks, including their motivational access, material access, skills access, and usage access. Through this study, I also focused on a research question. The one question that I focused on was, how do high school students in a West Michigan public high school district without Wi-Fi at home describe their digital divide experiences with completing academic tasks, including their motivational access, material access, skills access, and usage access? This research was analyzed using Jan van Dijk's theoretical framework of digital access in the digital divide. In his 2005 book, The Deepening Divide, he created this framework that shows innovations and their progress. When a student or an individual is working through this theory, they move through 4 different stages of access. First, they must have motivational access, or the willingness to be motivated to actually use the technology. Second, there must be material access. The individual must have the actual materials, the devices, the internet access in order to make progress. Third, an individual must have skills access. They must be able to learn or already have skills to be able to use that technology. And finally, they will make it to usage access, being able to actually use and make progress in the digital realm. When someone makes full progress through all 4 of these phases and makes it to that usage access stage, then they're able to move forward, as the arrows show, to the next innovation. For my research methodology, I chose to complete a single case study. I worked with Brookville High School and Brookville School District, which is a pseudonym for a school district in Michigan. This school district has 2 high schools, Brookville High School A and Brookville High School B. The participants that I worked with were 3 high school students, a 9th grade male, an 11th grade male, and a 12th grade female. And through our research and our time together, each participant completed 3 activities. First, the individuals completed a questionnaire. This data included some brief demographic questions, and it also included some short answer questions where they began to explore the areas of access and their perceptions of the digital divide. The second data collection tool was a semi-structured interview. Through this interview, I met with each student and asked them multiple questions to reflect on their experiences through high school and some middle school and how the digital divide impacts them. The final data collection tool was a reflection letter. The students wrote a letter to their teachers, though it was not shared with their teachers. It was simply addressed to them to help them think about the digital divide. Students were asked about their experiences to reflect on them, as well as how teachers were impacted during this experience and what teachers could possibly do differently. Finally, I analyzed my data using Van Dyke's 4 areas of access: motivational, material, skills, and usage. Based on this research, I had 3 major findings. The first finding was that the students had motivation for their academics, even though they had difficulties because they had a lack of material access at home. Secondly, that material access, such as a hotspot or other way of accessing the internet, was very important for my participants for their at-home use. The third finding is that the technology skills that students learn can be learned during the school day because they have a lack of at-home access. The students in my study had motivation to learn even though they had difficulties getting onto some of these technologies at home. This is very similar to Chen's study in 2013, where they found the importance of learning those skills and using workarounds. In my study, students worked around their access to the internet by coming in before or after school, meeting with the teacher, using a hotspot, or using a cell phone. This also connects to Fitch et al.'s study, where they noticed that the motivation was good, but students were also frustrated with using the technology. Similarly, in my study, students were frustrated. They wished their teachers understood what they were going through and didn't always feel like there was a connection between what they were doing at school and what they were able to do at home. In the second finding, students really benefited from using a hotspot, and all 3 participants used the hotspot in some way during their educational journey. Multiple studies have seen these other ways of access. For example, Dolan's 2016 study saw students using mobile technologies such as cell phones. In my study, one student enjoyed using their cell phone to help connect to the internet and do assignments. Further, in Moldovan et al.'s 2022 study, they looked at flipped classrooms. Students were able to learn at home and then ask questions during the school day, and the hotspots helped them do that learning. Many of my students were participating in an online alternative program, and so those participants benefited from having the hotspot to access their work at home. Finally, students benefited from learning those technology skills at school since they were unable to learn those outside of the school day. In Van Dyke's 2012 study, he looked at learning those technology skills from school staff, as well as Perry and Stack in 2015. The students in my study were also able to learn technology skills at school and benefited from that close connection with the teacher who understood them and understood what they were going through. This study has implications and recommendations for 4 major groups of individuals. The first was students without Wi-Fi, then high school teachers, third, district leaders, and fourth, community leaders. For students without Wi-Fi and other students who do not have Wi-Fi at home, it is important that these students recognize that they have a lack of material access. However, they can still learn these skills and make progress due to their learning at school. It is also important for these students to recognize that a hotspot might be helpful to them for academic success. High school teachers need to know from this study that they are key players in these students' perceived success. All of my student participants were able to name and identify teachers that were important and helpful to them along their journey. And so high school teachers can be that person for future students. These teachers also need to know that building relationships and just having an awareness of what their students are able to connect to and involved in is important. For district leaders, it's important to provide support for their students, especially those without Wi-Fi. And it may be beneficial to collect data. If a district has this data about who does and does not have Wi-Fi, they are more likely to be able to support those who do not have it at home. Community leaders and community partners are also important, as they offer opportunities for students outside of school. Similar to much of the previous research, things like YMCAs and libraries are great places for individuals to get that connectivity that they do not have at home. As I move forward and distribute this data, the first step is going to be distributing it at the spring 2025 school board meeting in Brookville to be able to share this information with the superintendent and other key district players. I will also be presenting this information at the Association of Teacher Educators Conference in March in New Orleans, Louisiana. This conference is for college educators who work with aspiring teachers, and they can help influence the future teachers of the world. Third, I hope to give an academic presentation to the administrators in Brookville so they understand what's been going on in the district. And finally, I hope to connect with key community partners in the Brookville area so they know how to support the students in our area. Thank you so much for joining me today, and these are some selected references from my dissertation.